Hello, guys. Henry here with Voice of Liberty. And tonight, we're going to have an interesting conversation. We're going to talk Antifa. We're going to talk Donald Trump. We're going to talk about terrorism. We're going to talk about the war on you. Last night, actually 9 hours ago, as I read this here, Donald Trump put out on Twitter saying the United States of America will be designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. I, of course, read that. And pretty much every other left anarchist, we all thought the same thing. Holy crap, this is dangerous. Because Donald Trump, sitting there saying he is going to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, is dangerous on multiple levels. See, Antifa is not an organization. Antifa does not have chapters around the country. Antifa does not have a membership list. Antifa is a thought. Antifa is anti-fascism. Antifa stands against fascist factions, fascist rulers, fascist regimes. Of course, right now with all the protests, the riots going on, yes, Antifa agrees with that. They're against the fascist system that enables police to shoot unarmed minorities in the streets. Of course, Antifa would be in favor of protesting against this and rising up against this. By nature, that's what they do. And of course, the alt-right, who are no doubt helping to flame the fires in these protests, would be upset that Antifa is participating. Because, of course, the alt-right has their own motive. But I'm going to save that for another episode. Donald Trump declaring Antifa as a terrorist organization. The United States of America designating them as a terrorist organization is dangerous on multiple levels. The first being this. If you're suspected of being a terrorist, your rights to a trial, your rights to a lawyer, they go out the window. You can be detained without due process for an indefinite period of time because you're a terrorist, you're an enemy of the state. Our rights that are afforded to citizens, they don't apply to you. So, calling Antifa a terrorist organization, why is that dangerous to someone like me, a left anarchist? Why is that dangerous to anybody on the left anarchist side of things? Why is that dangerous to anybody on the right anarchist side of things? And beyond that, why is that dangerous towards anybody that questions authority and does not allow the omnipotent state to control their lives? Well, I'm going to break that down right now. And if I wasn't already on some list, I'm probably going to wind up on one. I am Antifa. It's a simple phrase, but it requires a little explaining. I am Antifa. Why? Because I stand against fascism. Pretty straightforward. But I don't look like what everyone else thinks Antifa looks like. I wear a suit jacket. I wear a dress shirt. I don't wear a tie. Ties make me look too professional. But I am Antifa because I hate fascism. The party I exist within, the Libertarian Party, is Antifa because we hate fascism. We stand against it. We move against it. So, Donald Trump declaring Antifa as an organization, even though it's not an organization, to be a terrorist organization, therefore declares anybody who holds an anti-fascist stance to be a terrorist. Suddenly, the liberty movement, the movement for freedom, the fight for freedom, goes from the fight for freedom by the Libertarian Party to the fight for freedom by terrorists through some poorly understood definition of what Antifa is. Beyond that, what a poorly understood definition of what fascism is. Today, I saw a bunch of people in libertarian circles saying that Antifa is fascist. Doesn't make sense. I don't understand how you can say that Antifa is fascist. Okay, the little connotation of silencing voices that go against yours, maybe, in a long stretch of the phrase, you could call that fascist. But when the voices you're silencing are fascist, then are you really doing anything wrong? Are you violating the NAP? Because that's another thing I saw in libertarian circles today. They were saying that Antifa violates the NAP, but fascist talk violates the NAP on its own. So really, they're defending the NAP. Really, they're protecting the non-aggression principle. Donald Trump didn't declare Antifa as fascist because reasonable evidence exists that Antifa is flaming the fires right now in all these cities. Donald Trump didn't declare Antifa to be terrorist because there's evidence that these protests and riots are being sparked by Antifa. He declared them to be terrorists to fuel his own need for his cult to reaffix their attention on him. You know, it's sad. Anytime I have to talk about Donald Trump, his tweets, and things he does, it always loops right back to this. His ego. His concerns for his cult. See, what happened here is Donald Trump read a couple alt-right news stories, probably watched a few alt-right videos. I mean, we saw one today that he retweeted on his very own profile. Rioters kill a man defending his property in his store. Leave out the context of this, where said man was swinging a machete at people. Leave out the context where said man apparently wasn't even defending his own place. Leave out the context that he used that weapon and harmed people. But no, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the fact that saying that this group of black men attacking this guy over protecting his property, that fuels your base because your base is inherently racist. What they want to see is they want to see that black people are doing this. Your base also hates Antifa because you told them to hate Antifa. Because people that support you told them to hate Antifa. Because Ben Shapiro runs his mouth all the time about Antifa. Because Milo Yiannopoulos runs his mouth constantly about it. You got pages like Turning Point USA, Liberty Hangout, the biggest joke of a libertarian page I've ever seen in my life. They run their mouths about Antifa, and it has your base fired up. Your base hates Antifa, but doesn't realize why they hate Antifa. They hate Antifa because if they were to support Antifa, then they would hate you. See, this is Donald Trump's endgame. He's a fascist. His people don't want to recognize that. So they hate the organization that puts it out. I shouldn't have said organization there because there is no organization. I have a comment. Let's see. Don't Antifa people want socialism? Well, Tom Jefferson, let me break that down for you. Some do. Some want communism. Some are straight up Marxist. Some are people like me who are left libertarian and a libertarian socialist. Some are anarcho-communists. And some just straight up hate fascism. And see, that's the other problem with Trump supporters is they've been ingrained to understand that fascists or anti-fascist movements are projecting communism and socialism. I see this within the right side of the Libertarian Party also. But that's not the case. You cannot paint the supporters of an anti-fascist movement with a broad brush. Because your comment, Tom Jefferson, your comment is... it's the equivalent of the lack of understanding that Trump supporters and Donald Trump himself have of what Antifa is. Again, Antifa is not an organization. Antifa doesn't have a membership list. And Antifa is inherently a mind process that is anti-fascist. So, yeah, you're going to have anarcho-capitalists who agree with being anti-fascist. You're going to have people like myself who agree with being anti-fascist. See, that's the beauty of the movement, is that it is encompassing. But mainstream media, right-wing media, alt-right media, they focus on one thing. Antifa is left. Antifa is a bunch of Democrats. Antifa is a bunch of communists and socialists. But they're not, because there is no organization. I fall back to why declaring them to be a terrorist organization is so freaking dangerous. Declaring Antifa to be a terrorist organization declares anybody who fights a fascist rule, who fights the state, who fights against the tyranny that goes on in this country, it declares them to be terrorists. Declaring Antifa to be terrorists says that every rioter, every protester right now in cities across the United States can be locked up on terrorism charges. It says that when libertarians hold a End the Fed rally, you could lock every one of them up for being a terrorist. When they hold anti-lockdown rallies, you can lock them up for being terrorists. You get free will to lock anybody up for being a terrorist, for opposing the government and the tyranny that it commits. That's the danger of declaring Antifa to be a terrorist organization. See, when you declare something that has no clear organizational structure, no membership list, nothing that categorizes it as an organization, you then allow for the painting with a broad brush of people, of an idea and a mindset to be declared to be terrorists. Libertarians, we stand for freedom, we stand for liberty. We stand for the right to protest. We stand for the right to stand against the omnipotent state. Yet I see libertarians supporting declaring Antifa as a terrorist organization. Supporting that is supporting taking away the rights of people. Declaring it and supporting declaring Antifa as a terrorist organization is supporting taking away the things we've fought for 50 years. I also saw people that were pretty upset that people like myself were saying that, well, if you're a libertarian, you're Antifa. I saw a lot of people get really upset about that. I saw good people saying that being libertarian is innately being Antifa, sorry. Little allergies going on right now and not talking properly. But I saw people getting upset that we were saying that being a libertarian is to be anti-fascist. Because there is a mindset, and it's been ingrained by the media, it's been ingrained by alt-right media, it's been ingrained by the president and politicians. There's a mindset as to what Antifa is. But the problem is, Antifa is nothing more than a mindset being against fascism. Really, we as libertarians should be proud to say that we're not fascist. We should be proud to stand up and say, I am Antifa. Hell, we should take that title and wear it as a badge of honor. For 50 years, the Libertarian Party has been the shining star of rebelling against the state. Yet, it seems the Libertarian Party has fallen for what the state wants us to believe Antifa is. There's a problem there. Suddenly, we're seeing the Party of Liberty. Suddenly, we're seeing the party that opposes the state indoctrination, state propaganda, starting to believe it. We need to fix it. It's why tonight's episode is what it is. Tonight's episode was going to be something completely different, and I'll handle that tomorrow. But this had to be tackled. Because we should be proud. We should be proud to be people that stand against fascism. Because fascism goes against everything we believe. From anarcho-capitalists to libertarian socialists. We hate fascism. We don't believe that it has room to exist in a free world. So, the President of the United States declaring Antifa as an organization to be terrorists. It just shows how out of touch he is with reality. It shows how much he doesn't understand. And it shows how dangerous it is to allow someone to be in office that can be easily influenced by alt-right media, by media that is highly biased, and by people who tag him in a tweet and put a thought in his head. Because here he is, again, just to recap everything. Here he is painting the term Antifa to refer to an organization when there is no such organization. Here he is, declaring any fight for liberty, any fight against the state, any fight for justice, any fight for people's rights to be potentially called a terrorist organization or a terrorist rally. That ain't good. That ain't right. We should be loudly standing up right now and saying this shall not stand. Our highest ticket in the Libertarian Party, the presidential ticket, our presidential nominee should be standing up and saying that calling Antifa a terrorist organization is wrong and damaging to the rights of the people. Libertarian podcasters who are far more prominent than me, I do not at all, in my mind, make myself to be out bigger than I am. I have 4 viewers on my podcast right now. Libertarian podcasters that are far bigger than me should be stating that declaring Antifa to be terrorist is wrong, it's dangerous, and it cannot stand. Hopefully we do the right thing. Hopefully it gets challenged. Hopefully Antifa is found not to be a terrorist organization based on the grounds that they aren't an organization. And hopefully, if all that occurs, we don't have to worry about the next End the Fed rally or End the Shutdown rally or whatever rally we as libertarians plan. We don't have to worry. I would hope that we won't have to worry about being declared terrorists because of it. Anyway, guys, you have a good night. Thank you for watching. As always, awaken the voice of liberty.